Yesterday we covered on mindfulness. We see as a yogi, it's not just only understand theoretically about mindfulness, but also we have to able to experience mindfulness as they are, as they arises. So therefore the yogi should know its qualities and the different qualities of mindfulness. And these qualities, it comes in with more and more practice. As much as you know a ton of knowledge about mindfulness, but if you have not done proper meditation, proper development, then you don't really experience that mindfulness yet. So in the beginning part, the mindfulness, as I said, the yogi should learn to make the effort to arouse that mindfulness. And when the mindfulness arises, we have to know that it is there. It comes in as the mind is very much in the present. Not in the past, not in the future, not in the thoughts, not in the story, but here and now. Not only just here and now, but is heightenedly aware of what is going on in the present. You're aware of your walking, you're aware of the lifting, pushing, dropping, opening a door, closing a door, chewing, biting, swallowing, drinking, and so on. The mind is present, alert, aware. And we have to keep this continuous as much as possible. Then also this mindfulness, it comes in as also non-superficial. That means that we cannot do things like what we do out there, outside of this retreat. And we take everything for granted. And we just do because we just need to do. But here everything has to be transformed into more awareness, more alertness, and not just only keeping our habits of our everyday life outside there and we bring it over into the retreat. So in the retreat we have to exercise, even as much as you're brushing a teeth, opening a door, changing our clothes. Have to do it with more alertness. Not just do like what we do every day in everyday life out there. So too when we comes into the meditation objects, we have to pay attention to it more carefully. Aware of it, whether it's rising and falling, right step, left step, lifting, pushing, dropping. All those things, we need to do them with more carefulness in this practice. Then I also mentioned about what I mentioned. Acceptance. I mentioned about acceptance as another quality of mindfulness. Here, the word acceptance here means it does not reject or neither nor it welcomes. Whatever object, however it arises, your job as a yogi just attentive onto those objects if they are prominent, if they are clear. For example, if the thoughts, in other times, if the thoughts become strong and there's a lot of anger, then you got to be aware of that anger. You got to learn to accept that anger, not suppress it, not pushing it away. It is part of the nature of the mind, of being. So it has to be accepted. On the other hand, if it's happiness also, joy arises, then this time also the mindfulness also see them as it is. Just to accept them, neither welcome it, neither pushing it away, to see them as it is. So in many ways, this acceptance, when you're going to confront a lot of your own skeletons in a closet. Are you going to you're going to you're going to see the horrible phenomena, difficult objects, difficult thoughts. Then this time, this is where the mindfulness will help you. In the long term effect of this mindfulness is that it begins to heal the mind from all these problems. It makes you happier in that sense, but not that happiness that there's always laughter and always joy, but it's that freedom from not getting stuck in anger, not getting stuck into too much greed, not getting stuck into a restless mind or overthinking and so on. So the mindfulness, in the long run, it helps the mind become happier in that sense. Now, the way of mindfulness arises, it needs its condition. As I said, the condition for mindfulness, it needs to have a prominent object. That means it catches your attention comparatively to other objects. This is mentioned in the books. This is mentioned in the text, the commentaries, and how a yogi should develop mindfulness. You have to pay attention to what is prominent. If the walking right now, let's say the sensation of lifting, pushing, dropping, they are prominent, they catch your attention, you put your attention there. Let's say if you are walking and then suddenly there's a itchiness on the body, very clear, then you stop for a while. Without scratching, you note the itchiness. You note the difficulty, the unpleasantness of that itchiness. Then mindfulness comes in. And if you are sitting, if the rising and falling is clear comparatively to other objects, then you follow it. But if the pain starts to become stronger, clearer, more intense, then you have to bring your attention to the pain. To notice the pain, notice its characteristic, and you leave the rising falling at the background. This is how we do. It goes from one object to another object to another object. As long as the object is prominent, you pay attention to that, then mindfulness arises. Now, some of you may have gone to other form of vipassana retreats, whereas they have other forms that what people do is they go through, for example, section upon section upon section, or tiny areas of the body, one area after another area after another area after another area. Yeah, it's not going by whether it's prominent or not. You just have to scan through part by part. Yeah. To me, that although you are paying attention, but to me, well, sometimes when you pay attention to a certain part, when it's not prominent and you stay with it, then mindfulness is not going to come in, or it's going to come in very weak form of mindfulness. So it needs to have a continuity of clear objects. Then only mindfulness arises. And we're going to do that, throughout the whole retreat. And in the next retreat, in the following retreat, you're going to do the same thing. It's about looking for the clear objects, and therefore mindfulness becomes strong, powerful, and what is more important here is continuous. Yeah. Now, mindfulness itself, just on mindfulness, if we develop mindfulness, it is not enough for vipassana development. Yeah. You see, vipassana development and mindfulness, they are not really synonymous. Yeah. A lot of times people mixed up with mindfulness meditation equate to vipassana development or vipassana meditation. They are not the same. Because vipassana development, it needs another quality for it to become vipassana meditation. And everything will be supported, or mindfulness as a foundation. And then this quality will arise. And this quality is the wisdom factor. Or sometimes in the books they use the word clear comprehension. Or in the Pali word, it's sampajanya. Sampajanya. Sometimes if you read, sometimes the Buddha use many times in the text, he use sati sampajanya. Sati and sampajanya. So this sampajanya here, this is where it turns the mindfulness together with this wisdom factor, then it turns it into vipassana development. Now on samatha level, on tranquility type of meditation, say for example you are doing loving kindness meditation or compassion meditation or any other forms of samatha meditation. Now samatha meditation also, it needs that mindfulness too. You cannot say that vipassana is only you need mindfulness and samatha you don't need mindfulness. There's no such thing. If any form of meditation without mindfulness, your meditation is going to go haywire. It's going to go in the wrong path, wrong kind of like they end up become very weird. All kinds of crazy things will come up. You think it's good, but you think it's wonderful, you think it's marvelous, but actually you're going the wrong path. Now, let's say even you do samatha meditation and you do metta meditation. So, in the beginning part, there also must be strong mindfulness. There must be some continuity of mindfulness. So when there's continuity of mindfulness itself, that mindfulness, it blocks the defilements, it blocks the hindrances from coming in, from the thinking, drowsiness, sleepiness, greed, hatred, all this, it blocks them away. It keeps the mind to the metta object. And then on top of this mindfulness, then you develop metta, which is another quality of the mind. So when you develop metta together with that mindfulness, then the development of the metta becomes in the correct manner, in the correct way. So too in vipassana, it needs that mindfulness. So when it has mindfulness, then we develop the wisdom factor as connected with that mindfulness, then you're going to go in the right manner. So without mindfulness, this wisdom factor cannot arise. So it needs that mindfulness. But then, when we are giving a talk, we have to separate the thing for you to see it better. But when you are actually doing it, all of them are just grouped together. But to give you the idea what this wisdom factor, how do you train up, how do you arouse, how do you cultivate that particular wisdom factor? Then you've been doing it for the past 2 days or 3 days. You've been doing it too. Then especially when it comes into the walking meditation again. And this is the third phase where you are doing. Comparatively to first phase and third phase. Now the first phase, let's say, while you're right step, left step, right step, left step, and let's say this time the mind is not into thinking, into thoughts, into anything. You're fully alert, you're fully aware. And it's good. That means mindfulness is there, which is wonderful. Some degree of concentration also is there. Wonderful. Yeah? So you go in that way. But then when you go into the third phase, the mindfulness is still there. You're alert. But this time it comes with that more detailed noticing, more thorough noticing, that you notice the sensation of the heel, pressure, hardness, cold, the movement, sometimes vibration, a bit of tightness, a bit of heaviness, a bit of lightness. So when you notice this sensation, the mind is distinct them, they begin to scrutinize them, begin to discern the different minute qualities of those processes, those sensations. Now here is where you are exactly exercising the wisdom factor together with that mindfulness. So if the yogi were to come to a retreat, and then they just sit there and then just be aware, feel good, and the whole, let's say the whole week, they come in, they just sit outside there, the wind come, oh, feel so good, so nice. And then they walk as they like, enjoy the whole place. And then after that 1 week, they go back and they say they do vipassana meditation. That is not vipassana, because you're not exercising those more detailed quality. It is all inside the Satipatthana Sutta. It's just that you read the sutta and how you're going to execute the whole development, and that you need somebody to guide you, somebody experienced enough to guide you through. Yeah? So vipassana, it needs that detailed noticing, because that detailed noticing is the wisdom factor, is the experiential factor of the mind. We use the word wisdom here, the word panya, or clear comprehension here. This quality is an experiential quality of the mind, not the thinking quality. Because sometimes in the suttas, we also use wisdom as part of your recollection, part of your consideration, part of your intellectualization about certain dharma. That is also fall under wisdom, but that one fall under conceptual wisdom, or that falls under thinking type of wisdom. But here in the vipassana, it's different. It's experiential. It has to be experienced at that moment of time. Then this particular type of wisdom, then it transforms the whole mind doing into vipassana meditation. So it has to go into that way. So that's why for the past 1 or 2 days, I've been encouraging you all to become detailed, to be noticing what is happening, because we have to push you towards into vipassana way. So this is how we begin to do that. We begin to exercise that wisdom, which is good. Sometimes, like, for example, you can exercise it a little bit more. Whenever you are, let's say you are sitting down for breakfast or lunch, then this time, not just only being mindful, but sometimes, let's say, let's say for 5 or 10 scoops that you put into your mouth, the food that you put into your mouth, this time, you notice the chewing. And you notice how not only just chewing and then swallowing, but also notice how it chew and how the food is moving along inside the mouth, or how the tongue is moving, or how that you begin to taste certain thing. Stop, and then don't have to think of whether you are eating a vegetable or tofu or what else is. All that thing is not important. What is important is your sensation. You feel, and sometimes this sensation, as you feel them, in the beginning it may feel intense. Oh, it's so strong. Then after that, you begin to notice that it begins to start to fade away, and not so clear. And then perhaps other sensations starts coming in, or many other sensations are there, or when you notice it, you can able to differentiate different forms of taste that's happening inside the mouth, and then you slowly swallow until the whole process disappear. Yeah? You think vipassana that easy? Just eat and done with it. No, this is all about transformation. Transform the whole thing into a vipassana practice. It may take you a bit longer time to do the eating. It's perfectly okay. You're not rushing anywhere, are you? You're not going anywhere. You'll be here or the hall here, a room, a dining hall, back here again. You're not going anywhere. So take your time, relax, and really pay attention. By the time if you do this, you take notice of this sensation, and then you keep it up throughout the afternoon. By the time you come back for 1 o'clock sitting, the mind is already kind of alert during that time. Yeah? So don't underestimate this all this noticing. This is how we go into the deeper aspect of vipassana development. Now, this is one area how we exercise the wisdom to able to discern all this sensation, one sensation after another, one process after another, one quality after another. Yeah? Now, another way that how we exercise this wisdom factor, again, it goes with the discernment also, how it discern two activities or two processes. Here we can learn to do the noticing the intention a little bit more. Yeah? That you notice we begin to mention about the intention during the first day or the night when we give the instruction of the walking. Beginning of the walking, just before you walk, you note the intention. You note the intention, then only you start off with the right step, left step, or lifting, pushing, dropping, and so on. That will be good. Again and again, you notice this intention as you begin to start the walk, or sometimes you want to turn. And you notice that you're about to turn, not intention to turn, then only you start turning. Now, when you do this, noticing this intention, the immediate effect of noticing the intention is that after noticing the intention and the next process that is happening, the mind will automatically follow the next movement. It follows the next movement. And that is wonderful. Because if you can expand it to other activities, it becomes even better. Not just only in the walking. So, for this one is good for beginners. Because the beginning effect is that we need the mindfulness to be continuous, and so therefore we use this noticing of this intention. So you label a few times, intention to walk, intention to walk, intention to walk, then only you start moving. That will be good. Yeah? Or once in a while you extend it to your daily activities also. For example, like you want to open a door. before you push the door open or before you turn the knob, then just slow down or just stop there for a while. Just take note. Intention to open, 2 or 3 times, then only you stretch out the hands. You're stretching out the hands, then you slowly feel the sensation of the door, then open. Just for an extra minute or two, just to feel completely right there and to notice what is going on with the process at that moment of time. You may not be able to do everything, but throughout the day, once in a while, you try to bring about the intention. As simple as maybe wearing your shoes or wearing your sandals. Yeah? Before you want to wear, intention to wear, then only you slit it. Then put on the shoes or slit on to the sandals and so on. Here, when we want to exercise this intention, it's always good to exercise them whenever we change our posture. Whenever we want to change our posture. This body has how many postures? You have a sitting posture, you have a walking posture, then you have a standing posture, then you have a not sleeping, lying down. The word is lying down, not sleeping. Sleeping is sleeping. You are not meditating anymore. Lying down. But normally, don't worry about the lying down part yet. Worry about this 3 part. This the sitting, walking, and standing. Yeah? You see, for example, whenever we are doing the standing and we go into a walking, this is where you are changing a posture. You change a posture from standing into walking, then we note the intention. And whenever also you extend it out to your everyday life during the retreat, then, for example, you want to sit down on the stool, on the chair. Before you sit down, you're going to change your posture from standing into a sitting position. Then you note the intention to sit, Then only you slowly bring the body down onto the chair or onto the stool and sit there. Or you want to get up from your sitting cushion or you want to go down to sit for the meditation, for the sitting meditation. Then take note. Intention to sit, then only you slowly go down and sit down. You see, every time you notice this intention, the follow-through will take place. The mindfulness will follow through. If you, let's say, you're going down onto the cushion, you find that the mind is slowly noticing the body, how the body is moving, and the mind is completely there. Yeah, you notice, you change, then you sit down, then you shift your legs and so on, then you start off with that meditation. You see, when you do that, and let's say from the walking you are doing quite clearly, wonderful, then you bring the mindfulness now to the sitting. So the transition from the walking into the sitting, so that is a part where when you notice the intention, you will start to connect all the things that you have done in the walking. It connects it, the transition part here. Then you start with the sitting. You're going to find that the sitting is going to be, at least it's more alert for a longer period of time. Because you bring all the energy, all the mindfulness that you have cultivated during the walking into the sitting. That is how we bring the whole mindfulness into the sitting, and the sitting becomes clear. Yeah. It takes, as I said, sometimes 2 or 3 days, or 3 or 4 days, just for us to repeat this process again and again until the sitting starts to become clearer and clearer from one day to another day. Usually the walking it's clearer for most of you. But then the sitting may not be that clear yet. So be patient. Be patient. It takes a few days for you to repeat it in this way. So the intention is very interesting, it's very important. As you develop into this Vipassana meditation, sometimes you see the intention in more micro aspect of it. Not just only changing of posture, but this time the intention comes on its own. It becomes a prominent object. Whereas in the beginning part, although you label it as intention, actually you don't really see the actual consciousness of the intention yet. You don't really feel, but it's good because you are trained to notice those things. Your mind is going towards noticing that intention. But when actually, after some development, you'll find that there is intention actually arises, the consciousness actually arises. And without that consciousness of that intention arise, the body is not going to move. You're going to stand there for a while. And if the intention is not there, it still keep on standing until you notice intention to walk. Then only the legs start moving. Then you may feel that it's quite weird. Out there, when I want to walk, I walk. When I want to stop, I stop. How come here? It's like it can't move. Because here right now, it's trying to show you the process. The Vipassana is trying to show you a process without I telling myself to walk. You're removing the I for a while. You're putting the I, the big I, we put aside. And then here you begin to see a process. The mind that conditioned the movement right now. Then you begin to see conditioning aspect of the mind and body, how they are all condition each other. So when you see this repeatedly for a lot of times, then you begin to notice that it's not the I that is wanting it to walk. It's just the intention that arises, the mind that arises, then the following process take place. You begin to see conditioning, cause and what? Effect. Exactly. You begin to see the nature of cause and effect. In other words, karma. Not in terms of karma, in terms of what you kill or steal and then wait for your next life. No, this is not. This is immediate. Immediate, you see a process. You see condition. You see the resultant. You see the causes. You see the resultant. So you're going to see it in many different ways. Sometimes even like you stretch out your arms. You stretch out your arms. Right now, when you stretch out your arms, it's just stretching out. You don't feel much of anything. But for a Vipassana yogi, when it goes into a deeper aspect, even the stretching out of the arm is not just a single process. Sometimes there are as if a movement is divided into many tiny movements. As if being a movement is being staggered, one after another. And the yogi could actually feel the staggering motion. And not only that, each tiny movement that is happening, everything is preceded by the mind, the intention. The intention a tiny movement. Intention, a tiny movement. Intention, a tiny movement. So, in other words, perhaps that yogi may see just a stretch of an arm, 10 staggered movement happening. At the same time, 10 intention is happening at that staggered movement. So that time the yogi begin to really realize that all these phenomena that you are noticing, they are not I am. It is just process, conditional process. That is how all our I slowly being removed. If not the I am, the I here, then it's always have we always think that I'm the one who get angry. I'm the one who do this. I'm the one who do that. No, it's all conditioned by the mind. So in Vipassana, it begins to show you this phenomena, and that is wonderful. So in the beginning part of noticing this intention, your job here, don't worry about the cause and effect yet. What is important here is that make the effort to notice the intention. Then when the intention becomes clear, then you notice also the movement that follow through. Now if you're able to do that throughout the day, then you'll see that the mind stays in the present. The mind is precise, the mind is thorough. So this is one way how we exercise the wisdom. Now another way to exercise the wisdom is also to see whether our action, speech or thoughts, especially action and speech, whether they are suitable for our development or suitable for the Vipassana or not suitable for Vipassana. This is also something that the yogi has to consider, at least in the beginning part is to consider. At least you have to think about it for a while. But later part, it comes without thinking. It comes in as a habit, as an auto habit. So, suitability of our action. Here, what it means here is that whenever we are doing certain action, we have to, as a yogi, as a meditator, we have to check whether this action is suitable for the development of Vipassana or not. Because sometimes the action itself, it may be suitable in your everyday life. It may be suitable for other form of meditation practice, but it may not be suitable for Vipassana practice. So, take for example, you do your walking meditation. You walk. Then you think that you want to go and take a drink. Then after that you walk, then you turn, go into the, take a sip. Then after that you feel good, okay, enough, and then you come back and you start walking again. No problem, isn't it? You think of it as no problem, nothing at all. But actually what you do not know what's going on inside the mind right now. Because sometimes when you walk, you get bored. You walk right step, left step, lifting, pushing the same old thing, lifting. Then you get bored. What should I do right now? Okay, maybe I should take a drink. Just walk out. And then you take a drink. Then you feel good. And then after that, then you come back. And then you continue again. You find that you think that this is not too bad. And you times it by 100 times into the future. Once is okay, Once is not a problem. But you are creating a bad habit already. You think that just by walking, just by doing all these small little things, you think that that's not effective, no problem at all. But then actually, inside you, is that you're bored. You're not observing the boredom has already creeping in. Yeah, you're not, and then when the boredom is creeping in, you're not able to kind of like change your pace, go a little bit faster or go a little bit slower, you know. Then, in order to overcome the boredom, for you is that the boredom comes in, then you just go and take a drink, and you find that there's no problem at all. Yeah. So usually when it's not necessary, whenever that you are walking, your job is just to walk until finish that hour. Not like while you're walking, as you like, you go and take a drink. While in the middle of the walking, as you like, you go to the toilet. You know, you want to go to the toilet, you want to go to the restroom, you go in the beginning of the walking or the end of a sitting. And then you go to the toilet, you go to the restroom, and so on. Then everything clear. Then the time for walking meditation, you walk. No matter what happened, you get bored, you overcome the boredom during the walking. Yeah. This is how we train. It's not that when you're boredom, you just give up or just go outside and take a deep breath. Maybe once in a while it's okay. Yeah. But most of the time is that you have to learn to overcome all this boredom, all this the mind is thinking a lot and so on. You've got to learn to overcome all these things while you are walking. When you do that, in the long term, you'll find that the yogis, this type of yogis, is that it is not distracted by all the inner thoughts or inner boredom or whatever. The boredom comes in, it doesn't have the thought of doing some other thing. It stays with the walking. Yeah. Now, there are places in meditation halls. You know, the walking path and their bed is only 10 steps away only. And let's say you walk and then you feel sleepy. Then the bed is just there. What do you think you will do? You just right step, left step, lifting, pushing, dropping on the way to the bed. On the way, it goes to the... And then it gets, therefore that time you got to be very firm with yourself. If not, every day if you're going to do in this manner, every time a bit of sleepiness comes in, you go to look for the bed. Every time boredom comes in, you just give up on the walking. And you do that again and again repeatedly into the future of your meditation. You're going to find that the whole walking and the whole development is not going to come in. So we don't want to create that habit. You got to check the habit. You got to check the thought. So during the walking time, you stay with the walking. During the sitting time, you stay with the sitting. Unless it is really necessary. Perhaps that you feel that you're walking that time, you feel like as if like you're going to faint. At that time, it's necessary. Maybe you need to go out and get some fresh air, and then to calm down, maybe to take a drink, or maybe you need to take some medication, and that is perfectly fine, But when everything is fine, everything is okay, don't give in to all the temptation. Don't give in. Just you have to keep to the walking. You have to keep to the sitting. There are going to be many temptations, small little pull the mind where it pulls you here and there. Don't fall into its trap. So therefore you have to consider, is this particular action necessary for me to do that or not? Yeah? If it's not necessary, we put it aside. Yeah. Like another example is, here you have certain duties to clean up the place, to clean up the dining hall here. Then, good, because we still need to upkeep the place. But that time let's say when we are doing it, okay, we do it mindfully, we clean up the whole place, well and good. Then after that, you go back to your walking, to your sitting, whatever that you need to do for the day. Yeah. But then there are some other yogis, once in a while, they love cleaning. They love to give service, to do a lot of service, whether it's cleaning, cooking, or whatever it is, except meditation. So what they do is that sometimes they get a cloth, they get a mop, they mop the whole place. For morning, you'll see them, afternoon, you'll see them mopping, evening also, you'll see them with a mop or with a cloth. They love to do something except meditation. Once in a while, we do see this type of people. They're very restless mentally. You ask them to walk, they cannot walk. But you ask them to do something, they have so much energy there. So, therefore, all these type of things, you got to be careful. Don't fall into that particular trap. So during the walking time, you walk. During the sitting time, you sit. This is something important. Now, even for Vipassana meditation, because the development of Vipassana meditation, it needs your attention 100%. Let's say you're doing something wholesome, and you got to check also whether that wholesome action is going to be beneficial for you during the Vipassana retreat or not. Not talking about something unwholesome, something wholesome. Let's say you want to do chanting, something wholesome. Yeah? But you want to chant for 2 hours. There are people who could do that. 2 hours without opening up a book, they can chant from the beginning of the book right to the end, 100 pages. They can remember everything. I cannot do that. But there are people can do that, and people who love to do that. So they come in. The meditation they do chanting, and they chant. After that, 2 hours finish, they want to start meditation. You think the chanting stopped there at the mouth? No, the chanting will still go on here for another 2 hours. So while you're sitting, you're supposed to paying attention to your object, but the mind is keep on rolling with the chanting. So you cannot stop. So again here, all this, even the wholesome, in the retreat, you've got to put it aside. But when you are not meditating, when you are not doing an intensive meditation, then if you want to do 2 hours of chanting, 1 hour of chanting, well and good. If you want to come back here and give service to the whole center, the whole meditation place, they will be welcoming you with the open arms. If you love to clean, come back on another time. But during the retreat, your job is just walk, sit, eat, sleep. So that's about it. And not many other things, small little things, yes, but it must not take up so much of your time. There are also some places that I've been that people are a lot more faith. Like especially in the Asian community, people have more faith, so they like to do a lot of offerings, a lot of service work. Sometimes they go around in the monastery, go around the temple, then they look for flowers, nice flowers, they cut, they trim, and then put onto a plate, and then they offer to the Buddha and things like that. With, I mean, it's kind of an act of faith. So it's wholesome, but it is really not necessary when you are meditating. It's not necessary. Because sometimes these things, although it's good when you are not in a retreat, although it's wholesome, it's wonderful, but then when you do it too many times for too long a period of time, that will affect your meditation. Normally for me, when it comes to meditation time, retreat time, we try to remove as many things as possible. Perhaps in other retreats, there are times you do Qigong, you do Tai Chi, you do a lot of exercises and all that thing for a period of time. And to me, no, all these things put aside. You can go back to after the retreat, all the Tai Chi you want, you can do all the Qigong you want, you can do all the yoga you want. Except you don't do it here. Suddenly you some yogis will find you like you're doing a headstand in a yoga position, and all those things not necessary when you are in a retreat. Perhaps maybe you need to do a short stretching, 10-15 minutes stretching per day, once per day or twice per day. That's about it, enough. Don't make it into a main theme of during in a retreat. So all these things, put it aside. So I mean, not to say that I don't exercise. I do exercise. The Qigong, Tai Chi, sometimes also once a while also I do, but not in the retreat. I know they are good for the health. We know that. So, but when you are meditating, you don't worry about all these things. Now, this is something on how we exercise the wisdom factor. As I said, the first one is to begin to discern objects. One object after another object, you discern them. Secondly, you begin to discern the cause and effect, the intention, and the follow through. That is something that you have to discern, and you have to do them repeatedly again and again. And the third one here is where you begin to discern your actions, whether that particular actions are necessary for you to do that, for you to do or not. A lot of times when we are in the retreat, a lot of other actions are not really necessary. Sometimes like talking also, talking to your fellow yogis or talking to the organizers, you got to check for yourself. Is it necessary for me to talk? If it's necessary, then you have to keep it short. You have to keep it short. The more that you talk, the more that you describe what you really want in a long-winded manner, you're going to have a lot of thinking. A lot of thinking. So this one is to train you, or you train yourself. Whenever there is a teacher or no teacher, whether it's somebody looking at you or nobody is looking at you, but you know it for yourself that whether this particular action is helpful for the development or not. And then with that sense of understanding or responsibility, then in future retreats, with that thing, wherever you go, you know for yourself what is helpful for the development and what is not helpful for the development. Not just in one retreat only. To cultivate that particular area of morality, the deeper sense that not Not that somebody tell you what to do this and what to not to do that, but it really comes out from your own experience, from your own understanding. That would be very good for you for now and also in the future. But tomorrow we're going to look into it a little bit more on this wisdom factor. We're going to look into the what are the right objects and what are not the right objects for vipassana, because we need to discern them out too. If you go into a vipassana meditation, you need the objects, but there are some objects are not the objects for vipassana meditation, but some objects they are vipassana for the development of vipassana meditation. So that one you got to discern them also. But to give you a hint, to give you an understanding, a little bit of what I'm going to talk about it tomorrow, is that I've been talking also for the past 1 or 2 days that I said, don't go into the story of your thoughts. The moment you go inside the story, you're out of this vipassana retreat. Even if you're thinking about the suttas or anything also. What more when you're thinking of all kinds of nonsense? So we're going to look that into more detailed manner. So we'll stop here for tonight. Okay.